Hello everybody, how are you doing? I hope you are all fine and safe. My name is Mohammed Boudounit. I am a teacher of English in Al-Wahda Middle School in Boujdour. This lesson is for second year baccalaureate students. Today's lesson is about grammar. Today we are going to recognize and use conditional type 3. Dear students, before we start talking about conditional type 3, let's review this conditional type 2. Before you start using any conditional, dear students, there are two main things that you have to take into consideration. One of them is the usage. What does it mean, usage? Usage means when do we use a certain conditional. The second element is the form. Form means the structure. How can you use a certain conditional? So let us start with the conditional type 2. Look at the following picture, dear students. Who can you see here? A man, excellent. Is he rich? Sure, no, he is not. So this man, his name is Jim, doesn't have enough money. Right? Great. This man really likes cars. But let me ask you a very simple question. Can he buy one? Very good. No, he can't. Why? Because simply he doesn't have enough money. So let us imagine if Jim had enough money. Of course, he would buy a car, right? Great. So this is an example. Here we can say, if Jim had enough money, he would buy a Ferrari, a car, right? So this is a situation in which we use conditional type 2. We imagine the opposite of the situation that is exists in the present. So here we are talking about the usage. So we say we use conditional type 2 to talk about imaginary situation in the present or future. Right? Great. So this is the usage. Now let us discuss the form. So as you can see here, dear students, we have the F clause and the main clause. Remember, in all conditionals, there is the F clause and the main clause. They all have the same form, okay? Now let us discuss the tenses that we have here in this conditional. So as you can see here, we have a verb. Where is the verb here in the F clause? Wonderful. It is had. Which tense is this? Good job. It is the simple past of the verb to have. Good. So here, this is the simple past. Let us say the main clause. Main clause here, we have, as you can see, could plus verb. Means modal plus verb. Okay? Great. Now, make sure, dear students, that we use this conditional to talk about imaginary situation in the present or future. And we also use conditional type 2 to give a piece of advice. Okay? Now, let me give you this example. Look at the following picture that we have here. Then tell me, who can you see there? Great. 2 main. Here we have Alex and me. Fine? Good job. Look at Alex. Is he fine? Great. No, he isn't. He's not fine. He has a health problem. He is suffering from toothache. Now, let me give him a piece of advice using conditional type 2. So I would say simply, hey, Alex, if I were you, I would go to dentist. So you see now, we use conditional type 2 to give advice. So let us discuss the form. And here, dear students, make sure that there is something that is very important that we can mention in this form. So as you can see here again, we have the main clause and the F clause. Have a look on the F clause. Where is the verb? Great. Were. Which verb is this? Excellent. It is a verb to be. Wonderful. Which tense? Nice. In simple past. So we use the verb to be in a simple past. Normally we say the were or was. Okay, we say, for example, normally in English we say I was a student. But here we say I were. Is it correct? Sure. Good, it is correct. So make sure, dear students, when you use verb to be with conditional type 2, whenever ever use was. Okay, we don't say if I was you. We say if I were. Okay? So make sure that the form here is were, not was. What about the main clause? In the main clause here we have again modal plus verb, right? So we have would plus verb, okay? Would go. So this is the form of conditional type 2. To sum up, dear students, let me ask you a very simple question. When do we use conditional type 2? Nice, wonderful. To give advice, this is one. Second, good job. Imaginary situation in the present or in the future. So this is the usage, okay? The example that we have here, for example, we can say, if he had money, he could travel. This is an example, okay? But the fact is that he doesn't have enough money, so he can't travel. Now the form, as we discussed before, we have two clauses. If clause. What does it mean first, if clause? If clause means the conditional, okay? The conditional. Main clause means the result. It is the result of the conditional. Okay? Nice. So we said we use the simple past in the F clause and the modal plus verb in the main clause. For example, here again we can say we have F plus subject plus simple past in the F clause. In the main clause we have subject plus could or would or should, okay, depends on context, depends on the situation, plus verb, okay? So this is the form. Here, dear students, we can also say, we can also change the possession of the clauses, and we say, for example, he could travel if he had money, but be careful. So here, we use the subject plus would have or could, plus would or could plus verb, but we do not have comma, no comma, okay? Then in the F clause, we have the same structure, F plus subject plus simple past, okay? So simply, we say, if he had money, he could travel, or he could travel without comma, if he had money. So this is the conditional type 2. Let us, dear students, now discuss our lesson, which is the conditional type 3. So here, I want you, please, dear students, to take these two elements into consideration. What are they? Great. The form, the usage first, and the form. Now, when do we use conditional type 3? The best situation that I can give you here to talk about conditional type 3 is what's going on right now all over the world. This. You know that people all over the world, they have been suffering from this pandemic disease months ago. A lot of people are suffering now from this COVID-19, this virus. A lot of people are victims. A lot of people dead just because of lack of awareness of the danger of this disease. Some of them were and they are still victims just because they didn't, or they are not applying what we call social distancing. Okay, they didn't care about something that is called social distancing. So this is exactly what happened to John, the example that we have here. Let me tell you the story of this man. So as you can see here, John, even though he knew that there was, and there is still, of course, this virus, he didn't care about it. He didn't apply what we call social distancing. He didn't stay home. So what happened? Last month, he was somewhere, maybe in a supermarket. So what happened? What happened is that John got the virus from there because of this man. After 1 week, John took to hospital. And yesterday, John survived. He was able to talk. You know what he said? Let's see what he said. John said, if I had stayed home, I wouldn't have been sick with the COVID-19. You see? Now this is the conditional type 3. He said, if I had stayed home, I wouldn't have been sick with the COVID-19. Now what do we understand from his, from this example? We understand that there is a kind of regret. Okay? There is also a kind of imaginary situation, but when? Is it in the present or in the past? Very good, in the past, last month. So we use conditional type 3 to talk about an imaginary situation in the past. With conditional type 2, we say in the present, but now we are talking about imaginary situation in the past, which means what's done is done. There is nothing that he can do about it. So here, this is the usage of conditional type 3. Let me give you one more example. Let's say the example of Jack. Look at him. Jack in 1970. This man started smoking years ago. Look at him now in 2020. Is he happy? No. He is suffering. He is suffering from health problem, a dangerous health problem. As you can see here, Jack had lung cancer. Regret. To use conditional type 3, we can say simply, Jack wouldn't have had lung cancer. Can you complete? Wonderful. If he had stopped smoking. So Jack wouldn't have had lung cancer if he had stopped smoking. Fine? Now here, there is a kind of regret. Okay? So this is the second example that we can have right now when it comes to conditional type 3. To sum up this conditional, here you are. When do we use conditional type 3? Good. To express regret. This is one. Second, nice. Imaginary situation in the past. So here you are. Make it in mind. Okay? So just to distinguish between these two conditionals, conditional type 2, imaginary situation in the present or in the future. Conditional type 3, imaginary situation in the past. This is the difference. Okay? So, as example, if Jack had stopped smoking, he wouldn't have had lung cancer. Now, to analyze the form, to talk about the form, here again we have the F clause and the main clause. Fine? Now let us discuss the tenses. Where is the verb here in the F clause? Great. Is it had? Is it stopped? No. So the tense here is had stopped. Which tense is this? Wonderful. Here we use the past perfect. Fine? It is the past perfect tense. What about the main clause? What do we have there? Let's see. We have would or could, depends on situation. So would have plus past participle. Now remember, dear students, could have, should have, might have. All these expressions are followed by past participle. What does it mean, past participle, by the way? Past participle is the third form of the verb. For example, when you say, let me give a very simple example. Speak, base form, okay? Simple past, we say spoke. Past participle, spoken. So we use the past participle of the verb. In other words, we can say the form of conditional type 3 is F plus subject plus past perfect. Then we have comma. In the main clause, we may say there is subject plus could have or should have or might have plus past participle. Okay? So this is the conditional type 3. Okay, to practice, okay, to have to understand more the conditional type 3, let us please do the following exercise. Let's practice more. Why? Because simply practice makes perfect. So have a look on the following exercise. Let's check your understanding. Dear students, I want you please to fill in the gap with the correct form of the verb. So here, I want you please, dear students, to have this kind of strategy to deal with certain exercise like this one. We are talking about conditional type 3. And we also talked about conditional type 2. So make sure that the form is there. Okay? Structure. Number 1. You could have been on time if the bus. Is it had caught, or catch? Great. Had caught. Why? This is the past perfect. And why the past perfect should be here? Because here we have could have plus past participle. So keep it in mind. Number 2, example number 2. If I had known you were in hospital, you. Is it I would visit you, I would have visited you, or I will visit you? Very good. It is would have visited. Why? Because we have the past perfect. In the main clause, So the form is would have plus past participle. 3. He wouldn't have been sick with the COVID-19 if he, home. If he stayed, stay, or had stayed. Great. If he had stayed home. Nice. Last example. If I would prepare well for the exam. So, a lot of students now, they stay home. So this is a piece of advice. Which conditional is this? Great. It is conditional type 2. So what do we say here? If I was, or if I were, or if I would be. Nice. We said we don't use was. So we say, if I were you, I would prepare well for the exam. So this is it. Let's do exercise number 2. Put the verbs in brackets in the correct form. Now here again you have to have a kind of strategy to find the correct form. So what do we have here? She passed, so this is the verb, the exam if she had worked harder. Now I want you to use this verb in the correct form. Now, how can you get the form? Please, make sure, dear students, look for what we call keywords. Keywords tell you the answer. Sure. Let's see the example. She passed the exam if she had worked harder. Now I have to find keywords. What are the main keywords that we have here? We have F, good. And also we have the tense, which is had worked. So now at the day of the exam, you have to have this form in your mind. When we have the past perfect, means, of course, in conditional, okay, in conditional type 3, in the main clause, the form should be either would have plus past participle, or could have or might have. It depends. So here we'd say, she would have passed. Past participle of pass is passed. Nice. Example number 2. Again, we have to find keywords. We have again F and had driven. So the same. Okay, past perfect. Now I have to use the condition, the correct form of the verb to have. So we will say simply, so Peter, if Peter had driven his car slowly, he wouldn't have had an accident. Okay, the past participle of have is had. But here, why do we use wouldn't? Why? Imaginary situation in the past. As I said, we imagine the opposite of what happened. Okay? So what happened is that Peter drove his car fastly, then he had a terrible accident. So conditionally imagined opposite. So if Peter had driven his car slowly, he wouldn't have had a terrible accident or an accident. Okay? This is it. Next. I wouldn't have missed the plane if I on time. Great. So here we have if I had arrived on time. Okay, past perfect. Why? Because of this. Number 3, last example. If Ali hadn't been too late, he take the exam. So we have to use this verb to take, verb take in a correct form. So simply we would say, nice, very good. He would take. I don't think so. So we say, he would say, he would or he could have taken. We cannot say he would take because this is conditional type 3. So this is a strategy, keywords. So we have always look, you look for the keywords so that to get the correct answer. Let's practice the last example. In exercise number 3, I want you, dear students, to rewrite the sentences beginning with words given. So here you have a situation, and I want you to complete the conditional. Here, please, dear students, you read the situation. You have to understand the situation. Is it, does it belong to conditional type 2 or 3? Then you decide. Let's see. Jamal didn't travel because he didn't have money. Now, is it the past or the present situation? Of course, this situation is in the past. Okay? So, if Jamal had passport, complete? Very good, excellent. He could travel. He could have traveled. Okay? Nice. Number 2, Lisa didn't revise. So she didn't answer all questions. Again, this situation is in the past. Lisa would have answered all questions if. Can you complete? Very good. So we have would have answered, so we have to use the past perfect. So, if she had revised. Good job. Last example. I didn't believe you because you lied to me before. So, if you hadn't lied to me before, excellent. Okay? I might have believed you. Good job. That's amazing. So, thank you very much, dear students. Best of luck. Thank you.